And I would say, again, some of you guys watching are going, well, how can you say 90%, 95%? I can just tell you every week, I probably have 5 or 6 people that call me, want me to help them in a business, and I'm booked out most of the time. And then I'll go in the meeting, and if I do have a new meeting with a client, 80, 90% of the meetings, you'll notice that the owner doesn't ever at any point during any meeting get to what needs to be done, who needs to do it, when do they need to do it. They just have meetings. And they're just pointless, and everyone leaves feeling de-energized. It's demotivational. I've seen churches this way, where people leave and there's no call to action. We studied a bunch of stuff. What are we supposed to do? We don't know. I've seen government organizations do this. It doesn't matter what, but I've seen government organizations with a high level of energy. I've seen city governments with a high level of energy, because everyone knows who owns the project, right, what needs to be done, when it needs to be done. So it's not about if you're in a government or if you're in a church or if you're in a business or you're in a nonprofit. It's having the agendas that follow this pattern.
Yeah, and I would recommend too that at the beginning of the meeting, you have a consistent pattern of this where you review the action items from the last meeting. Everybody knows that the when's going to be asked about at the beginning of that meeting. How are we with all of these action items before? And you've got to have some organized system to know, where, are you keeping it? Well, I keep it on a yellow sticky, I don't know where that went. And get organized on your action items, that they're in one place, you've got them there, you can sort them by date, and you ask at the beginning of the meeting, where are we at with all our last action items? Now we're gonna discuss, we're gonna debate, we're gonna let fur fly during this time. We're going to come down to a decision. We're going to create an action item, the what, the who, the when.
You want to have a meeting that's a waste of time, though. You talk about a meeting where everyone comes to the meeting and no one is held accountable for what they were supposed to do. No one knows what to do. No one knows. It's rough. So take those to heart. Point 40, clear objectives, maximum number 40. Clear objectives with a deadline drive productivity.
Yeah, and it's really more or less, it's another way of saying what we were just talking about here. If you have a clear objective of what it is you want accomplished here, and I think about Henry Miori. Dr. Henry Miori is a business professor I had, and thinking about my good friend Peter Drucker. He talks about management by objectives as well. It is
Peter Drucker, again, can you give a little context as to who Peter Drucker is?
Peter Drucker is somebody that came to work and helped transform General Motors after World War II.
Wow.
And he's known in around the world as the father of modern management.
Okay.
He brought in the whole concept of management to being something that's worthy of being studied.
Did he write The Effective Executive?
Effective Executive in 1969.
And that's the book that Lee Cockrell, the guy who used to manage Disney World and all 45,000 employees, that's the book that every time I asked him, what book would you recommend, he'd tell me that. When I didn't ask him what book he recommended, he'd tell me that. When we're off camera, he's telling me about that book.
Right.
He constantly talks about that book. So there's got to be something. Now, I want to hit on this here because clear objectives with a deadline drive productivity. It seems simple, but I'm telling you, I have a lady right now, bless her heart, sweet, sweet lady. And I talked to her. She's not a consulting client of mine, and I just talked to her because she's a friend of the family. And she'll call and she's like, this week she's got a ton of capital. She's got all these ideas floating around. Nothing ever gets done. And she's like, I'm really wanting to get started. I'm really wanting this is the year I'm going to get after it. Last year was the year I'm going to get started. Last month is the month I'm going to get after it. And she just never gets anything done. So even if you're a self-employed person, in this person's case, and you only have a staff of one, which consists of you, when you meet with yourself, you need to have a clear objective. So in this case, going to build website. When will it be done? By Tuesday. And then you drive towards that.
Right. And that's where you go in this previous maxim, where you say, okay, Tuesday I'm going to do this website. So what's all involved in the website? Well, I've got to do this, I got to do this, I got to get this expertise. You begin to detail things out. Well, I'm not into details. Well, you're into being poor if you're not into details. That's just kind of what
just something I'm into. I just like it.
I'm just a big visionary. Well, you're going to be, a poor visionary. It's the most effective executives are people that can go big, broad view and then go into the detail, go big, broad view, and they're driven by deadlines. They're driven by getting things done. I tell you,
I'm bringing that to Costa Rica.
Bring it to Costa Rica. Going to
Bring
transform
that, transform the whole country, the productivity.